Yvonne, Ina MK,
and Stephen Oxner.
Homesick.
At home.
Have you ever felt that way?
Shot City. I'm coming home again.
Welcome, Yvonne, to Homesick at Home, our Friday evening English-speaking program with Ina MK.
And Stephen Oxner, and of course, our guest tonight,
Teresa Daban Sanchez. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
How do you feel? Cozy?
Yeah, great.
Comfortable? Yes. Okay, good. This is important.
Teresa, we have a big list of questions for you today because I think, as you know, our program is always about our guest and uncovering the internal life of the guest, because we have this theory that inside of every single person there's a whole world, there's a whole cosmos. And, well, you sent us information about yourself, and we've told you a little bit about ourselves, and we're kind of on the side of being artistically minded people. And so when you sent us the information, I was reading about your job and your title and your master's degree, and there's so little that I understand. For example, you are a resident representative of the International Monetary Fund in Armenia, and I have no idea what that means. Can you tell us a little bit about your work and what your everyday life looks like?
Yeah, sure. It's let's see if I can make it easy, because sometimes it's a little bit complicated. But basically, the fund is an international organization. Armenia is a member. Mm-hmm. It's a fund. What that means is a fund is a cooperative in which all of the countries in the world are members, mm-hmm. and they put money together, and then countries member can borrow this money eventually if they need it, and they can also get technical assistance or advice to design policies for their countries. So this is what we do. And so in the case of Armenia, there is a very straight relationship with the fund. For instance, the U.S., or your country, also is a member of the fund, but we don't have such a strong relationship. Why? Because the U.S. is a strong economy.
Mm-hmm. They don't need assistance.
Exactly. They don't need them. They believe they don't need that.
But if you look at the international debt, or at the national debt of America, it could be that they really need
all of the countries. Sure. All of the countries, they may need eventually that assistance, and also because they are a member of this type of cooperative, they have also obligation. They have obligation of providing information about what they are doing, what are their plans, what are the policies, how this is affecting other countries. Mm-hmm. And also there is an obligation to be subject to an annual evaluation by the fund.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it's very important because that way everybody knows about everybody. All of the countries know about what is going on in other countries, what is important to understand how, for instance, how different policies can impact, how the policy of your neighbor can impact you.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Mm-hmm. So this is basically what I do.
This is opening up a whole slew of questions from
Yeah.
my side. For instance, it smells like the word transparency to me. Is that correct? The transparency is a very, very important thing in your
Exactly. Transparency is very important because at the end of the day, this organization, the fund, and another one that is called the World Bank, that also has an office, very important one here in Armenia. These are institutions that were built in the 40s after a period of convulsions in the world. Well, we know there was 2 world wars. There was a major depressions in the world at the end of the 1929. And so countries got together and decided to establish this system of sharing information in order to prevent this type of
experience
and coordinations and economic imbalance to happen again. So that was the beginning. Only Western countries were members at the beginning, and then different countries have been joining slowly. For instance, the Soviet bloc was not a member of the fund until the 90s, until they became
a part.
Yeah. So
At what point did Armenia become a part of the International Monetary Fund?
when?
Yeah, at what point?
Yeah, Armenia became a member as soon as Armenia became independent. Actually, next year, Armenia is going to celebrate the 25th anniversary of a membership of the International Monetary Fund.
Are there any events going on?
I think so. I think the authorities, the Armenian authorities, are preparing some celebration. Yeah, but I think it's important. It's like to celebrate that Armenia joined the international community and became a member like other countries. Yeah, so it's important.
So I have a question here. Can I go first? What does the Armenian economy look like today?
Wow.
And what?
This
Yeah,
is something that you can find out from any taxi driver that you meet.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well,
But since we have someone like you in our studio, it would be interesting for us to hear.
And what do we need to happen to improve our economy?
wow, these are
in your
two
perspective?
difficult questions.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
Eternal questions.
no, sure. That part of my job. So we are now getting into business.
A little bit.
Getting
We
down to
promise.
That's okay. That's okay. So, I mean, Armenian economy is you have to understand it's a small economy, and it's very open. It has to be very open because everything that you see here is imported. No, Armenia is unable to produce many things because it's very small. I mean, that is okay. It's normal. So, but then
And
this
we don't have a
openness-
sea.
You don't have a sea. You have geographically in a part of the world that is far from traditional commercial routes, and there are geopolitical
Unfortunately.
issues in the country too. The borders are closed. So these are structural constraints that provide a lot of challenges for Armenia. Plus, Armenia is very dependent on the Russian economy. For good and for bad, was good when the Russian economy grew a lot in the past. Armenia expanded dramatically, and there was a huge improvement in the income per head. This country now, I mean, I'm sure it's very different from the countries in the 90s. However, now that Russia is experiencing difficulties because the oil price, has gone down dramatically, then Armenia is going to suffer the consequences, in the sense that growth and expansion and prosperity is not coming from abroad. It's not coming from Russia. The Russian economy is now flat. So this is a major challenge now, and that happened in the last 2 years. Probably
Yes.
So but I mean, the situation is not that bad. So the taxi driver, I know the taxi driver. Everybody complain in Armenia. Everybody says, this is terrible. We are in a recession. We are in a crisis. No, the country is unfortunately this time. Even if the Russian economy has contracted and has experienced the shock of the declining oil prices, Armenian economy has managed to muddling through in a way that has been in a more resilient way. What has been good news, in the sense that the economy is not growing very fast. It's true, but it could have been worse. So when we see in the past. In the past, when the Russian economy went down, Armenia followed. This time there has been some resilience, but I think is good. It's good news. It's very good news in the sense that when there is this type of stability, some stability, and it's important because businesses are not closed. There are not dramatic change in the economy. Some stability is always welcome.
But there are some businesses closing for sure.
Sure. I mean, there are business. Yeah, obviously. I mean, when I saying is
it's the average.
is the macro. The macro picture. In any economy, there are businesses that are going to flourish. There are businesses that are not going to do well, and I think that the Armenian economy, in that sense, is dynamic, and people are quite resourceful here. Actually, we are locating. Yes. I would say that. I would say so.
It's such a pleasure having you here in our studio
we're
today.
having
We
a
have to go
break.
away for a quick break, and we'll be right back. So don't go away. We're here with Teresa Daban Sanchez
Tune in on 103.0.
or at radiovan.fm. You can watch us and listen to us worldwide. So tell all of your friends in Spain.
Yay!
We'll be right back.
At home.
Yes, and that someone new is Teresa Daban Sanchez here with us in the studio tonight. Thank you again for joining us. We got our business out of the way, and
Yeah,
now
that's
we have
enough.
to get down to the person who's sitting in front of us. And the first thing, so a lot of people, if you talk to them about Europe and about Armenia, they talk about the temperament of people, you know. And a lot of times, I bet you've heard this before, that they've said that the temperament of Armenians and Spaniards is very similar. Have you ever heard this from Armenian people?
I have heard that many times, and I also can verify that it's true.
Yes, great. What can you tell us? What is similar about the people of Armenia and the people of Spain?
There are many similarities. I think that we are southern.
Yeah.
You can
Southern
feel it.
people.
Emotional.
Yes.
Oh.
And this is very important. Important in the sense that I think it's a good thing first, but second is I think the more kind of visible characteristic that you see when you come here, and also not only seen by me, because as I said before, I didn't move from Spain. I moved from the U.S., so I'm Spanish, but I was already kind of living in a different environment. So my comparisons always were not necessarily with Spain, but my family or a lot of friends from Spain that came to visit, they see similarities as well. For instance, one thing that is very important is that Armenia and Spanish people, we love food, we love good food, we love talking about food, and we love sharing food, and we like touching food. This is, you don't understand that. You don't understand that. If you don't see that, if you don't have this in your, you don't grow up with that.
Yeah, you don't really understand all this.
No. So and then
When your grandma makes you eat the fourth dish and still telling that, oh, you're still hungry.
Yeah, but it's not only amount. It's amount. It's
Family,
quality, it's combination.
friends.
It's like it's not only amount, because it's so in that sense you notice it right away when you come here.
Yeah,
That, okay,
true.
fine.
Right?
Connecting and
absolutely.
connecting.
By the way, what's your favorite food here?
In Armenia,
Yeah.
there are many things I like, but I mean I like much more, not necessarily specific dishes, but the combination and for instance, the herbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah,
love that.
Greens.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes, and the vegetable and the fruits. Horobach, not that much.
You're more vegetarian
Oh.
type.
No, yeah, well, definitely yes, but also is that we cook meat in a very different way
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
in Spain and then in Armenia.
How is that? How do you cook food?
It's very interesting that, well, first of all, we cut meat in a different way. So
Yeah,
the
there are
cutting the meat is very
certain ways.
important. I like cooking actually. No?
Yeah, we could.
So
Oh.
then when you go to
there.
the when you go to
Okay.
the supermarket, then you see the pieces are cut in a way that is this is not the way
Wrong
cutting.
way.
No,
Wait a
no,
minute.
because then how you cut meat implies certain way of the meat
The way
is going to
it
cook, to
gets
be
to
cooked.
cook.
The,
Mhm.
yeah, the juicy, how the piece is going to be at the end, juicy or bloody on the inside.
Mhm.
No? And the Armenian, they like to overcook the meat in the khorobash.
Mhm.
Why? Because you use flame. We don't use flame. We use only ashes. Has to be cooked very slowly.
Slowly.
So, yes.
We're impatient.
So it's a different type of tradition. I understand that. So then the khorobash sometimes a little bit too dry for me and too tough.
Okay. Well, what about
You've had
hash?
But
wrong.
for instance-
You've had wrong khorovats.
No, I don't think so. But for instance, I like khorobash fish, because the fish is crispy.
Crispy
love
and
that.
inside it's
Yes,
Ah,
that's
juicy.
for instance the khorobash
yeah,
fish.
yeah.
I
Khorobash,
see.
the sturgeon. I love sturgeon.
Yeah, I
Sturgeon,
know.
yeah.
I love the sturgeon.
Oh.
The
Have you
khorobash.
tried hash?
I try.
That's slowly
Only
cooked.
once. Only
Yeah,
once.
I tried it once too.
Only one. Hash is something that I'm trying to, but
Yep.
and
You
it's very
gotta try it.
interesting. Oh, no, you have to try and you have to
To
understand.
share the tradition.
Share the
Yeah.
tradition, and then but it's something I mean I have to be honest, because it was very striking to me because all of the countries in the world, definitely in Europe, in Spain for sure, we have all of these dishes that were put together by poor people in the past with very kind of modest set of ingredients, but they're delicious. They find a way, you know. So I don't understand why hash that is also had the same type of explanation, like, this is because it was done with the pieces of the whatever
that
were
left
discarded.
over,
No, that's always the explanation of many
but
of the
it's
dishes in Spain.
good. Come on.
No, in the sense, no, it's not
unusual for foreigners.
No. I respect that because we have also this type of attachment to certain dishes in Spain. Wherever, and but I don't understand this the lack of space. Is
spices,
condiments.
I see.
Yes.
Did you put garlic in it?
Yeah,
That's
but
it's still
vegetable.
not enough for you.
No,
Yeah,
you can do
okay.
something more sophisticated.
Okay, maybe we can suggest some.
It's,
No. At the end, it's a long tradition behind, and there is an explanation why it's that way, and then either you like it or you don't like it. I mean, a lot of foreigners go to Spain. I don't know, you have it to Spain, and then they're unable to eat what we eat, and then you like
Even a lot of tourists. I remember working in tourism area. We were advising them, be careful before eating hash because it's something really hard and something that you might not like.
It's gonna be heavy.
But I think
You're
we
gonna
need.
have to sleep.
I think we have another short break, we have a lot of questions, and food is really interesting, I think.
Don't go away. We still have 40 minutes of Teresa on the hot seat. We're going to ask you more and more questions to find out more about what it is to live in all of these countries you've lived in, which we'll get to as soon as we come back. Don't go away. You're listening to 103.0 Radio Von with Ian MK.
And Steven Oxner, Homesick.
Listening to the cool Marcus Miller. It's me again. And it's me again, Steven here with Ina and Teresa. We haven't gone away, and we have more questions for you.
Go ahead.
My first question is, has life ever taken a significantly sharp turn for you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Otherwise, would not be fun, no?
What was it?
Sometimes, no, and especially, I never have any kind of tragedy in my family or myself. No, I'm not talking about this type of thing, but sometimes I did the turn, the U-turn or whatever, or the turn myself, no? Like deciding to come to Armenia. Like out of the blue.
Out of the blue. So how did that happen? Tell us about that.
Very interesting question, yeah. Yeah, when I moved to the U.S., so when I moved from one country to another, either to work or to study or to whatever, then this is a major change. I was looking for it. So, and then you had to adjust. It's sometimes terrifying, or has been terrifying,
Sure.
but has been super exciting as well. So, I don't know, I have this impulse to go away from my comfort zone and then to look for other opportunities. No? For instance, I'm from a kind of medium-sized village in the south of Spain that is you will never expect that somebody like with my background could get that far in terms of, geographically, no? I don't know, I had to go to place to study. I had to go to abroad to get. Always was difficult to get scholarship, but I managed to get that support. So I don't know. Something was pushing me to be up there. I don't know.
Quite interesting. An urge to go somewhere and do something.
Yes, because sometimes you don't know where you are. Well, now I have more kind of maturity, and I know more about what I want, what made me happy, and what satisfied me. But when you are a young person, sometimes you don't know, no?
Right.
Yeah.
And you just try things. It's just an experiment.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
So what was the first one of those? You were living in this middle-sized village in Spain.
Yeah.
And you thought, okay, I have to find out what I want.
Yeah, so I went to college, to get my bachelor degree in economics. Went to the university, to Malaga University. It's a big city in the south of Spain. That was a kind of first move. You had to, that's quite common, no? In many other countries, you had to move out of your parent house.
You said
That was
Malaga?
also,
Malaga?
yes.
We used to have a radio van in Malaga, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a great city, actually. I lived there for 5 years. I did get my bachelor degree there in Malaga University. And then from there, I think the most dramatic in terms of change in my life when I moved to Madrid. Because right now, things are very different. I'm talking about many years ago. So the discrepancy in mentality, in experience, in sophistication, in all of the respect between Madrid and the rest of Spain was huge. So I remember to land into the mega city like Madrid, that is big, completely unequipped to live in such an environment, and with a very low budget, by the way, of course, as a student, and then you survive. You feel the pinch. You feel like, and sometimes you have this type of doubts, like, what the heck I'm doing here?
Yeah. What did I do? Why did I come here? Yeah.
But then you have this perseverance. I don't know where it's coming from, I suppose. And then you move. So everything was worked out very well, but it's tough. It's tough, no.
And how did you make your way to Washington, D.C.? Because that's where you moved from to come to Armenia, correct?
Actually, yes. So I moved to Madrid, and I studied there for 2 years at the Central Bank of Spain, Bank of Spain, in a postgraduate courses that they have for student in economics. So that's what I really learned, that I wanted to be an economist and to be a good one and to really get into this business. And then from there I went to London School of Economics, and I got master's degree because also at that time in Spain it was very important to have a degree in a foreign university. Yes.
Right.
I'm talking about many years ago. I'm
you...
very old, by the way.
Come on.
So at that time it was very important to be abroad in Spain. Now I think that we have more offer other type of master's degrees in Spain for students, but at that time no. So
Yeah,
to really
it was difficult to get a scholarship.
Exactly. You have to, but also like the difficulty is to expose yourself to a different university, to a different type of environment, to signal it that you are different. You had to go abroad. So you had to go. So I had to go. I went to London. Then I came back and I decided to work for the government in Madrid.
Okay.
So I worked for the Ministry of Finance several years. And then from there, one summer, I went to Washington because Spain also as Armenia is a member of the International Monetary Fund. So this organization, the fund, organized training for the civil servants of the country members. Actually, a lot of Armenians now from the Central Bank, for the Ministry of Finance, they go to Washington every year for training. And so I did the same thing when I was in Madrid. And I went to Washington like a couple of weeks to learn something new, or seminars, whatever. And I was offered to stay. And I thought, why not? A couple of years. Let's see what happens.
Oh, gosh.
So
those couple of years
became 15 years. No, not 15, yeah.
Amazing.
Yes. So I have a full life in Madrid. So I had to, sell my car, everything. Yeah.
A huge change. So do you consider your coming to Armenia a growing experience for you, or is this a growing experience for Armenia?
I think that that's a very good question. I think both we have benefited from the from the interruption.
Okay.
No, I'm really having a great time in Armenia. I think professionally is a very interesting case. And with very interesting challenges, especially right now for what I explained
It's like
before.
doctors when they say, "Oh, this is an interesting case."
It's an interesting case. The relationship of Armenia with the International Monetary Fund is excellent. what is make my job also very rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a huge appreciation for what we do and respect, and so that's
Great.
yeah, exactly. So and so in that sense, it's been very interesting. And then my personal life also is very rich here in Armenia, which was
Oh, really?
was completely unexpected. Actually, I didn't have any expectation. I thought that I will focus on my work and that no necessarily.
Tell us more about it.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
Yeah.
Only those things that can be said in public.
Sure.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
We understand.
No. I'm kidding. No, what I'm saying is that Armenia has one advantage, that it's a very safe country.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, true.
especially for women, no, because I came
Children.
completely
women.
alone with my dog. By the way, I moved with my dog.
For dogs as well.
For my dog,
Very safe
yes.
place for dogs, Armenia.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think that was very important to feel like you can go anywhere. Then I drive my car and I move around. I go everywhere by myself.
Yeah.
That was a very important thing to me. Something that you cannot do in many countries. Yeah?
So, where would you spend the last years of your life?
Wow! Now we're talking about the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could that be
I don't
Armenia
know.
if
I
it's
don't
so
know.
safe here?
I don't know.
That's great.
No, I don't
Oh,
know.
that's amazing.
You know them.
You're open for anything.
I don't know. No, I mean I have a base in Washington D.C. and my job is there, so I will probably go back to Washington D.C. But I don't know if I'm going to end my life in Washington D.C. or in the U.S. I mean, I will be always a connection with the U.S. I live a long time of my life there. I have properties, I have assets, so I have my life there. But Spain also is my country. Armenia. After I'm going to be here 4 years at the end, so I have developed a connection with this country. So I see myself coming back
Sure.
on vacation or visiting or who knows, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm going to be a kind of a nomad, living from. Why
That's
not?
a good idea, yeah.
Why not? As long as my health allows me to do that, why not? No,
I
wonderful,
think so,
no?
yeah, absolutely. It definitely keeps a perspective young. I think when you don't get into this place of really stabilizing and rooting yourself in one place, there's like something always moving inside of
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to move even if you are not in the mood, because to allow things to happen.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
if you
yeah.
don't, you are
You never know. Yeah.
you are not fully satisfied with your life, and then or whatever, or you are excited about what you do, then continue doing the same thing. It's not going to take you anywhere. You have to move.
This is a little bit like what you were telling us off the air about thinking that the feeling of being homesick is actually not it's not the right kind of feeling for a human to have. That means then they need to do something, right?
Yes.
If you want to go home, go home.
Yeah, go home. If you
Yes,
feel
or at
homesick, you
least
need to
you
go
have-
there.
Yeah, or at least you have to have that plan, meaning that sometimes I understand people, especially in the case of Armenians, they need to move to Russia, for instance, no? Or to other countries to make a living and send money to their families. It's an obligation, then they must suffer, and this is a tragedy. But you should have a plan, meaning that you do that for a few years, or you save money and you're coming back to Armenia, you are going to invest that money in opening a business. You have to have a plan. It's impossible. Yeah, I mean, many people cannot do that. They are not. Unfortunately, they only have to work and to send money to home and that's it. But in some cases it's possible. It's possible to have this type of planning, and then if possible, then you have to have this kind of expectation of coming back home and do something with your life, no?
Yeah. Don't go away. We're still here on the air. I know it's so hard to part, but it's only for a few seconds. We are still here for another 22 minutes with Teresa. Thanks so much for being with us. Keep listening to 103.0 Radio Von, who is, by the way, turning 18 very soon.
Yeah.
We have almost 18 years of airtime here at
Wow!
Radio Von.
Congratulations.
No,
Yeah?
we're
It's
now
really Shushanik.
adults.
Shushanik, congratulations. Max, congratulations. Jacques, all of the team here is just an amazing place to work.
We're a family, actually.
Yeah.
Great.
Don't go away. We're still on the air until 10 p.m.
Homesick at home.
with ENMK.
And Steven Oxner.
I am home with our family, here with Ina and Teresa. Having a good Friday night. I hope everyone else is having a good, safe Friday night. And it's amazing. We've said it so many times on the air, but I don't think we can say it enough times that in this world today, when you read about the news and you hear all of these crazy stories about unbelievably awful things happening to just normal people walking down the street, living in the capital of a country like Yerevan, and being able to just go basically anywhere you want to, whenever you want to, and feel safe is a luxury.
It is.
It's an amazing thing.
It's
Yeah.
very good. It's one of the most important assets that Armenia has as a country, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Safety.
Safety and
What do you think that depends on? Why is Armenia such a safe place? Do you
actually,
think?
this I don't know. I don't have the answer. It's something that we have been asking ourselves, especially expats when we live in other countries. For instance, Latin America, that is a lovely continent. It's very close to my heart as a Spanish, and it's very dangerous. And I don't know, because here you see either opportunity for people to commit a crime, or even people in needs that they will be kind of compelled to do something, and then it's not happening. I don't know. I don't have the answer, but it's something that should really be preserved.
Yeah.
Because it's something that makes any visitor a very enjoyable experience coming to Armenia. No?
That is definitely true. And tourism here is a giant industry, correct?
It's growing, and it has been growing in the last few years,
Mm-hmm.
but still is small to the potential of Armenia. I mean, the number of visitors
Yes.
every year is still very small compared to what Armenia could attract.
Do you have a favorite place here in Armenia?
Oof, I love many places, but I like very much Savan Lake. I'm in love with that lake.
Could you say that it's the most beautiful thing you saw here, or something else?
Sorry?
What is the most beautiful thing you saw here in Armenia?
I think Aragat.
Mm.
I like hiking and climbing. So I
cool.
went to Aragat.
You're a mountaineer?
Yes, I went to Aragat several times.
Ooh.
I have been to
Great.
other places. So hiking and exploring different places is beautiful.
I saw on your page that you're fond of sports, but
Yes.
but never saw you hiking.
Aragat is amazing. I don't know. Have you been to Aragat?
I haven't.
You
I've only
have to.
looked at it from
You
far
have
away.
to. No. You go this summer.
Yeah, it's
this
beautiful.
coming summer, you have to be in the summer only. You go. It's very simple. Go up, then you need 3 hours to
Mm-hmm.
go walking, and then you can do it. It's not difficult.
Huh.
Yes. And then when you are, I mean, I don't want to be a spoiler, but when you go to the top, it's
Mhm.
volcano, no? So you see the crater is there. I mean, now it's not active. of course,
Sleeping.
no?
Uh-huh.
But it's the colors and the, I don't know, it's difficult to describe. I mean, I have picture. You can see picture in my Facebook page.
Steven, we need to
But
arrange
it's
a
beautiful.
tour for you.
Actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hiking tour.
Yeah.
Up
Yeah.
to Aragat.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So I have been in many places. I love. I mean, I like very much the south of Armenia more than the north in the term colors and the temperature. No, I mean, definitely.
Have you
going
been to Tatev?
Of course, several times.
Great.
I haven't even to Megri. I went to the border and touched the border with Iran. Yeah, I haven't that far. Yeah. So it's
Awesome.
very beautiful. Yeah.
So taking into consideration the mentality and the safety and the economics of this country, you mentioned that when your mother came here, correct? She said, wow, this is like Spain in the 1970s. What do you think will happen, let's say, in Armenia over the next 15 years? What are your predictions?
Prediction is very difficult to predict because there are many unknowns that may happen, but definitely Armenia is opening up to the world. Has a great potential to grow and to attract investment and tourists, and then because of this exchange of ideas and trading and then change is going to happen and gradually. I mean, it's happening. Actually, it has happened since I'm here. Only 3 years, you see change happening. Small things, no?
What kind of things, for example?
I see more modernity
Uh-huh.
in certain things, small things. Sometimes it's a matter of, but it's a. I think it's an indication of access to. For instance, you go to a store, supermarket, or you place a restaurant. You see how
The service?
the service or decoration or things are coming. And they are because the country is very open and it's ready to learn, and the change is happening. So my prediction is that Armenia will follow suit of what happened in other countries. There is more prosperity, more development, but it's a change that is tough because it's required. First of all, required collective effort.
Collective.
So it's
Teamwork.
Teamwork, collective effort.
Yeah.
So it's something that happened with one generation needs to get step forward and to do the change. No? So the young people, I think the young people have a huge opportunity and responsibility of introducing the change. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do we need time? Do we have time for another question? Or?
Yeah. Is it a really big question?
No,
What kind
not
of
really.
question is it, Nina?
It's one
Okay,
something.
okay.
Teresa, if someone told you could take any one thing from Armenia when you leave, abstract or real, but only one thing, what would you take with you?
Only one physical thing.
Could
Anything.
be physical or abstract.
Physical
maybe
or
something
abstract.
you've learned from the people.
Anything.
I think that
Except the safety.
I don't know if
Well, you could take
No.
Aragats, for example.
Yeah.
no, but I mean, I don't know if I will take it because I think it was with me, but let's put it in a different way. So what happened is that I came to Armenia and I reconnected
Mm-hmm.
with some of my European values, and this is something that I'm going to bring it with me.
When you go
Yeah,
to
that happened. That happened. Yeah, I was in a different environment, and then I came to Armenia and like, no, I belong here. I don't know why, but I belong here. And why?
Okay.
The first thing, and I'm sorry you are American, and then maybe you are not going to like
okay.
it, but one thing that I love about the Armenians, and sometimes frustrating at the same time, is the spontaneity.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the same in Spain, meaning that things are organized in the last time. People find a solution in the last time. Yeah, we who have planned better, but who cares? The things at the end are as good as they get, and everybody's trying to do their best, and then, okay, we have a great time. Who cares? that part, I think, is at the beginning is if you don't understand it. Actually, a lot of expats I talk to, for them it's frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's like, this is great.
Yeah.
That's the way life should be. So that part I like it.
see.
Because in the US you get used to this type of, they invite you to a barbecue or a party,
Mm-hmm.
send you an email and tell you the time of arrival and the time of departure.
Departure.
Yeah, time of
Yeah.
departure. The party's gonna be
This-
over at this time.
Then you get
Yeah,
used
this
to
is
that.
absurd for Armenia.
Exactly, and for me when I was Spanish, but then you get used to that because there's a rationale for that. It's not that the American,
Mm-hmm.
no, they're smart people. And it's because also they want to make sure that you come. So by getting you the information at what time you will be available, they will make you more. That will attract you better. So there's because at the beginning I thought these people are these people crazy. I said, no. There's always a rationale. Don't get me wrong. No, it's no, but it's a
Yeah.
culture. It's a cultural shock. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is.
So when I
It
came
is.
to Armenia, the spontaneity, the
Mhm.
who cares, who's coming, doesn't matter. So everything is much more
Over
relaxed.
hospitality, over hospitable.
Yes, I like that part.
We still have 10 minutes left, so don't go away. We will be right back after this very short break with Teresa. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Sure.
Teresa.
And we're still here. There's always that nice pause, you know, between the jingle and
Yeah,
our
and
Nina
then
Simone, where you
the
think,
smooth-
oh, is anyone coming?
And then you get the lounge mood after the really active jingle.
Is it okay if we return for a moment to food? Because
Because we're hungry.
we started talking about Spain and Armenia and the food.
Mm.
And food is quite an interesting thing. I think that you can learn a lot about someone from the food
Yeah.
that they love.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Food is very important, and I have it's very interesting also to learn from history. No, food is connected to history.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we Spanish people we missed the most when we travel around the
Mhm.
world is olive oil.
Olive oil.
Yes.
Wait,
It's
but there's
very
olive
important.
oil almost everywhere, but it's
You
not.
can't find
It's not
it.
real olive oil.
No,
right?
it's real. No, Armenia, you can find everything here. Because
Yeah.
as I said, it's very open country. You go to supermarket now, you can find.
Sure.
But it doesn't belong to the cuisine, the traditional Armenian
Yeah,
cuisine.
yeah.
Uh-huh,
Then
yeah.
why?
True.
Because
Yes.
Armenia was never Romanized. So when you look in Europe, all the countries that we were Romanized, we were
And-
conquered by the Romans.
Right, right.
That was very tragic. But the spas has been very good. Because we have
in
a
the
wonderful
kitchen, we're
the
thankful.
kitchen, exactly. The olive oil, the red wine. The red wine, okay, Armenia with that wonderful red wine. But the olive oil is something that you. So sometime I'm thinking, if Armenian cuisine could have the olive oil as a complement, and sometimes I do myself, right? When I have Armenian food at home, because I have Armenian cook at home. It's the lady that cook for me sometimes. She cook Armenian food, and then I put a little bit of
but
paradise.
but you know what? I've noticed that it's
That's
more and more popular to use olive oil now in the
Exactly.
salads
Yeah.
and
No, sure. I mean, it's becoming universal, but it's something that belongs to. I mean, you go to Spain, you will see that it's like you cannot live without it.
it's like cheese on our table. Yeah, for instance, for cheese
Something
on
like
our
that.
Armenian
And
table.
the
And
matsum,
the greens.
and the
Yeah.
yogurt, and all of this.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you have a favorite kind of food to eat when you're celebrating? Is there something like when something really great happens, you think, oh, we have to go celebrate with this kind of food? Is there anything like that in your life?
Spanish food? There are many things in Spain that will. I mean, very good paella. You know what paella is?
Yeah.
No?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
Yummy.
I will cook it myself because cooking is a celebration. So it's
a whole ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I will share it with the friends. Now I love that. Yes. By the way, there is a very good Spanish restaurant here in town. I don't want to do a commercial here now, but you should go to
tell
try
us.
Spanish.
Kaya,
Exactly,
yeah. I know.
Go there. It's, I mean, I don't want to.
And it's very good. Yeah, and you'll say that as
it's
a
very
Spaniard.
authentic because it's authentic. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. You feel like yeah.
Yeah, never. I have
Yes, the
heard
people,
about it a lot.
They're Spanish. The people running the
We
place.
should go there eventually.
Yeah. Go there. You want to experience really.
Heard
I
about
mean, there are
it
many
a lot.
other wonderful places in Jeremiah. I think Jeremiah has a very nice offer of places for entertainment, no? But Spanish is particularly interesting, I think. So you can have a paella there.
Yeah. Okay. Next
Okay,
time
so-
when we
so-
go.
Yeah, next time it's pretty interesting that I've lived in Russia for some part of my life as well, and I've noticed that in Russia when they try to do some kind of like a lot of the time when they try to do some what they would call food from another country, there's always kind of like this Russian taste that's still in it. That like I had pho. Do you know what pho is? It's this Vietnamese soup, like ramen soup, and it has a very specific taste. And I went and ate pho in Russia, and it just tasted like dill and parsley, just like everything else. But in Armenia, it's quite interesting when there's food, a restaurant from a different country, and it's people who are taking it seriously, they can do it really well. It's
Yes.
unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
And it tastes like you're no longer in Yerevan. You're in
They
Spain.
say that some Georgian foods, for instance, are even better than in Georgia. Some Georgians told me that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
better here in a Georgian restaurant than back home.
Into
It's interesting.
Georgian food is very good too, by the way. That's
So when people from Spain, from your home, ask you to describe, I'm sure you have this like where you're like, I'm living in Armenia, and they go, okay, where is Armenia first? And you tell them where Armenia is, and then they say, what is
Romania?
it like there?
Yes.
What is it like there? What do you tell them? How do you describe this country to people?
I eat. Well, I mean, actually, I use Spain as a comparison because, as I said before, I mean, I think that there are many commonalities, and specifically like this. Yeah, imagine Spain 30 years ago, 40 years ago, something like that. And the other thing is I mean, this is Europe. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, I don't know how to explain, no, but you feel a lot of Europe here. Traditions,
Yeah.
culture, I mean, Christianity. I don't know. You feel it. You feel we are still in Europe. I mean, you feel the exotic flavor of being. How can I say on the outskirts of Europe? But yeah, it's Europe. It's not Turkey. It's not.
It's not Asia.
Middle East, exactly. No, although we are close, no, but
Yeah.
you feel more on the other side, no. Actually, that's the feeling that everybody has come here have, no. That it's more or less like could be like a province in Spain, Yerevan. I mean, it's a little bit larger, but yeah, could be in terms of the
Teresa, what about dreams? Do you have any recurring dreams?
dreams.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, okay, great.
Of course, you don't have dreams, you are dead. No?
Dreams meaning when you're sleeping.
No, dreams?
No.
When you sleep.
When you wake up, did you have any experiences while you were sleeping that you saw and you remember?
We are talking about these dreams
These
or
kind
the
of
other
dreams.
dreams?
So sleeping dreams.
Sleeping dreams?
Not really,
Not
that
so
you can
much.
think of.
Yeah, no, I have, but I don't mean anything. I don't pay attention to them. No, I thought you were talking about the other dreams.
Well, let's talk about those
Yeah,
dreams.
let's talk
What are
about-
your dreams?
Oof, I have many, but they're evolving all the time.
Yeah.
My dream is to, I mean, it's not very well articulated, but what I would like is at some point to kind of become free. That I think that should be the dream of everybody, you know, meaning that
Freedom.
Free
Joy.
from what?
from going to work every day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very honest.
Yes. So yeah, that's I think it's my dream. Yeah, and I will do it. I mean, some point.
Someday.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sure.
Yeah.
Do whatever you
It
want.
doesn't mean that I'm not going to work,
Yeah.
but this type of work
Not a
that
have to work. Yeah.
that you I mean that you have obligation that you have to, and then you work for others and
Does
you
this
had
mean
to-
that you're a creative person inside? Because creative people like freedom.
maybe, but also it's a very complicated balance, no? Because I mean, I want to be free, but on the other hand, I need some kind of resources to be free, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm building that. At some point, I will be free. Be free to continue working and
Yeah.
being very active, but in a different way, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, one of my, I mean, that I will not see it, but my dream in terms of I hope it's going to happen for the generation to come is that this idea of going every day to the office has to disappear.
Oh,
I
I
think
hear
it's
you.
it's a
so
huge-
agree.
This commuting,
The commuting
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the schedule and the lunch time breaks and then going back and
that
then.
has to disappear.
Oh no.
I
yeah.
hope
I
it's
hear
going
you
to
totally.
disappear. Yes. Well, and I think it's going to disappear. I mean, I'm convinced. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid. So we put it together.
Ourselves.
We become very
a cage.
effective and very productive.
Yeah.
But then we have to get away from that.
Yeah.
And it's going
Well,
to happen. It's going to happen.
Cool prediction. Thank you.
No, no, sure. No, it's going to happen. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are out of time for the
Great.
evening, but it was great
No,
to have
Can you
you.
imagine?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we are 10 now.
Yeah, it
Wow.
happened already.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
flies by.
It always happens
was
here
fun.
in the studio. Well, thanks for being with us. Hope you
Sure.
enjoyed this evening.
I did.
Because we really did.
We did, yeah. And
Yeah.
as always, if there's anyone you know or any of our listeners who would like to tell someone who did not hear this show, we have recordings of it that we put
Sure.
on our Facebook page, Homesick at Home, as well as on the website, radiovon.fm. So they
I
can
have a
listen to
lot
us and
of
watch us
interesting people
worldwide.
that could come here.
Oh, cool.
Excellent.
Yes.
This is great.
Oh, it unravels, it unravels.
Yes.
This is a
Definitely.
network, Steven.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
We
Well,
wish
hope
you...
hope we'll get together sometime around
Oh,
paella
yeah.
We will.
and
No
some
problem.
Spanish food.
No problem.
Everyone take care out there. Have a safe Friday night and a fun Friday night. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you next week with Ina MK
And Steven Oxner
on Homesick at Home.
on Radio Van.
Great.